Welcome to episode 69 of the Brew Crew Scoop. It's been a long time coming for this, but here we are, and all three of us are here. The Milwaukee Brewers are 83 and 52. Some would say that it's been a disappointing week or so since the week and a half since the streak ended, but honestly, I feel pretty good about it. They are treading water in one of the hardest stretches of the schedule, just in terms of maybe not the opponents, but in terms of whatever, 19 games in 18 days, and we're right in the thick of it. The starters are not going deep in games, which we'll talk about, but they're treading water. So honestly, I'm happy with their about 500 record over the last week and a half. Could be better. Hasn't been the best play they've had, but like I said, 83 and 52. There's still no one else in Major League Baseball with even 79 wins. So still a five-game lead on Major League, five-game lead in the win column on Major League Baseball, and still a 6.5 game lead over the Cubs, which we'll talk about. They got swept by the Giants, so at least the Giants leaving town hot continued against the Cubs. So thankful for that, holding the Cubs back during a stretch where the Cubs could have made up some serious ground, and it's really only been 2.5 games, even though we lost the series to them. So vibes are still good. We're hanging in there.
Yeah, the tempers on this team is good. I mean, I honestly, after today's loss, I expected to see a lot more uproar in the fan base, but I think there was something else that happened with a hometown team that kind of just blew over the whole fact that we just split with the lowly Diamondbacks, in which our offense wasn't the issue. It was our starting pitching, which is very rare, which is another reason why I'm totally not worried about what's going on. When your starting pitching has been dominant for the first 120 games, you're allowed to have, a series or two where you're not going to be, going 6 innings and giving up 3 runs or less. And then I was just looking over some notes that I did take actually, and when you're starting first baseman, your starting center fielder, and your starting shortstop from your opening day roster are all on the IL, and you have the most wins in Major League Baseball by 4 or 5. I mean, like I said, I'm giving this team a bit of leeway just based off of, the circumstances of what's going on. They played 15 games in 14 days. I'm totally fine with where we're at.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like you said, we're treading water, Scoop. It's not the best stretch, but I mean, people can be disappointed, but like the record's still fine, even since the streak ended. And then once you take into account the streak, obviously the record's great. Thus, best league in baseball by a big margin, like you said. Um, yeah, it's baseball. You're not going to win every game. But I don't know. I also wouldn't call them like the lowly D-backs. Yes, they haven't been good this year, but their offense is still good, and I think in the second half it's been one of the better offenses. So as we saw, they still can hit, even if they're not the D-backs that maybe people thought they were at the start of the year.
All right. Giants came to town. Return of Willie Adames, a weekend celebration of Bob Uecker um, on Friday. The Brewers, despite Willie Adames trying to be Babe Ruth, 2 homers in that game. William Contreras hit a walk-off homer in the ninth. Pretty cool. I think they said it was the first walk-off homer of his career, and he said he wants to hit 1,000 more, which um, fine with me on that. Unfortunately, like I mentioned, the Giants got hot. They spoiled Bob Uecker Umbrella Day and the Bob Uecker Celebration of Life. But it's a bummer to lose that on that day, especially in a blown lead by Trevor Megill because, well, obviously why, but that was an awesome celebration or that they put on, hosted by Bob Costas and lots of others there, including Robin Yount and George Brett. Even though even though the expectations were high, I was there, and I gotta say that it exceeded expectations. It was pretty awesome to see. It's hard to do a Bob Uecker video montage, tell stories, and have it go wrong, to be honest. But it was really cool. Unfortunately, they lost. But 2 out of 3 losses against the Giants. They rolled in and righted the ship a little bit, taking 2 from the Diamondbacks early this week. But like I mentioned, unfortunately, came up short 2 nights in a row, Wednesday and Thursday against the Diamondbacks. So it was a 3-4 week. Did want to shout out that Isaac Collins had a walk-off sacrifice fly. Cool to see him with another walk-off. Um, like I mentioned, still a 6.5 game lead on the Cubs, which you feel pretty good about with, I think, 20. 7 games left, if I'm doing the math right. So the Reds have pretty much fallen out of it. They're hardly even in the wild card race too. So and then it kind of looks like the NL playoff picture is set. If I just want to do standings right away, Brewers, Dodgers, and Phillies, and then Cubs, Padres, Mets right now. Feels like that's what it's going to be. The Reds are not technically out of it. And then in the American League, same kind of thing where there's a kind of a line drawn between the playoff teams and the non-playoff teams. Not that it's impossible, but Blue Jays, who the Brewers are playing this weekend in Toronto, should be an awesome series. Best team in the NL versus best team in the AL at the moment. But then it goes Tigers, Red Sox, Astros, Yankees, Mariners. So playoff picture looks like it's pretty likely to be at least 10 or 11 of those 12 teams, I feel like. So that's the standings and that's the weekly report. Uh, you guys got anything to add before we go on our normal segments?
Just to touch on the Reds a little bit, I feel like we broke them. They were they were going pretty hot there going into our series, and yeah, they may have stopped our streak, but we did come back from what 8 runs on that Friday night or Saturday night game. That was probably the most magical part of the season for me. But I feel for them. I was really rooting for them to make the wild card. I really like Francona, and I think the Reds fan base is like a decent group of people from what I've interacted with on our friendly app X. So feel for
I
them.
will just say before you go, Cole, every time I say, "Oh yeah, I'd root for that team," then I feel like we're just inviting the Reds to spank us in the NLDS at home or whatever. So I don't play that game anymore. Whoever gets in the playoffs gets in the playoffs. 'Cause I remember last year, being like, "Yeah, I hope we play the Mets," and that sucked. So, anyways, that's my 2 cents.
Yeah, I was just gonna say 9 series left. Hopefully we can just stay relatively hot and keep getting healthy and avoid any big injuries. I know we'll probably touch on some IL news, but want to keep everyone as healthy as they can be. And part of that might be some guys eating innings that might not even have a role in the playoffs, but we just got to keep our arms fresh and hope our injured batters come back in the next couple days, I assume, for probably Chourio and Rhys. But yeah,
Yeah, like you mentioned, 9 series left. That off day finally on Tuesday after a Labor Day matchup with the Phillies. So worth noting, since there's not that many series left, we may as well just go through them. So at Toronto, and then home versus the Phillies, at Pittsburgh, at Texas, home against the Cards, home against the Angels, at St. Louis, at San Diego, and then they finish up at home against the Reds. So that's all that's left in the slate. Off day, 4 more games, and then an off day after 19 and 18 days. All right. Who was your hot hitter of the week?
Oh, stop dropping on fire, Ricky Bobby. I'm on fire. He's so hot right now.
there definitely were a handful of candidates this week, but I'm gonna give it to Caleb Durbin. 25 plate appearances, 9 hits, 3 doubles, 2 homers, 3 runs, 3 RBI, and a hit by pitch.
I'll give it to a guy who's pretty much turned it on the last couple weeks here. I saw a tweet by our boy Thomas Nestico, and it has William Contreras as the fourth highest F4 catcher. After it seemed like not that long ago, everybody was clamoring for him to either be traded or sent down. I don't, Cole, you're making a face, but
You're
there were
saying
people.
everyone was clamoring for him to be traded?
There were people. I mean,
There
do you
were
not
people.
believe
That
me?
is true. You said everybody.
I figured it was in jest. I figured you
Okay.
would get that. But he's the fourth highest F4 catcher now, so I guess I'll give it to him.
You an F4 man or a B-War man?
I'll stick with whatever helps my narrative.
Yeah.
Honorable mention Yelly and Mona as well. Both of them, I think, over 1 OPS in the last week. Um, and Mona, I think that's another guy that was definitely taking some, not even strays over the last couple months. And he's been better than I think anyone could have hoped out of him too. So you can say that about a lot of guys on this Brewers roster, obviously, overperforming. So shout out to those two as well. Yelly could have had a really cool spot t today, but didn't happen. That's all right.
Yeah, I kind of want to give a full season hot hitter shout out to Christian Yelich, a guy who is potentially playing his way into a top 10 NL MVP finish kind of out of nowhere, especially at that after that bad start. I think MLB Network actually put him as like fifth right now, which I don't necessarily agree
Yeah, I
with.
don't think so.
But um, if he let's say he hits 6, 7, 8 homers in September, and has another 15 RBI, he'll be well over 30 and at like 105 plus runs batted in. Um, I don't know. On this team, it feels like a guy who could maybe, like I said, top 10. That'd be super cool for him at this stage in his career. So, all right. Who was the untouchable pitcher of the week?
You fellas are untouchable. Is that the thing? No one can get to you?
Handful of candidates that you could give it to. Freddie Peralta, as usual, threw a lot of pitches to get through 5 innings, but didn't give up any runs. But I'm gonna give it to Shelby Miller. 3 outings, 0 earned, 5 Ks, um, 2 walks, a hit by pitch, 1 hit. But like I said, we're gonna need different guys to step up. Obviously, he was one of the few acquisitions we made. And just wanted to give him a shout because he had a kind of rough start to his Brewers career.
I'm gonna go with Abner. It's kind of a foreshadowing, but obviously he'll be taking over the closer role for the next at least 14 days here. And he has not given up an earned run since July 12th, which is like insane to me. I know we're so used to these lockdown pens, but to see one guy do it in probably a really good year for the pen, but not as good as we're used to, is it's still super impressive. I mean, he's got like a 180 RA. And he's just a guy who's fun to watch when he's doing well. He obviously has a great time out there. So I'm a big Abner fan.
He's almost, I think he was last week's as well. He's almost more fun to watch when he's not doing super well. When he struggles to find it a little bit and like walks to, and then he's really hyped and somehow still gets it done. Obviously, you don't prefer that in the moment, but that does happen every once in a while with the way he pitches, but is always electric.
All right. We did standings and schedule. So next we can talk transactions and injuries. I think the biggest ones are Trevor Megill to the IL with a flexor strain. He sounds like he's not too concerned, so hopefully that's fine. Joey Ortiz, who I think we mentioned last time was out, is expected to be back after a minimum stay, hopefully. Chourio is expected to be back. He was actually in the dugout today. And then also on the flip side of that McGill thing, the Brewers signed and started Eric Fetty. Gave us an okay 4 and a third, I think it was. So a guy that you could see bouncing back for the Brewers for sure. But obviously it's August 28th, and I don't think they're going to get him in the pitching lab before the year's over. So, but hopefully he can give us some meaningful starts, or in this case, long relief outings after opener. But those were the main injuries and transactions, I believe. Grant Anderson, I should say.
Yeah, did we finally cut him?
Yeah, I don't understand why everyone hates Grant Anderson. That one's so puzzling to me. But um, yeah.
Yeah, hopefully he gets right though. He's been another big piece of the pen, obviously.
hmm Um, Henderson was moved to the 60 day. That's another piece.
Yeah.
So won't be seeing him. Gasser is actually scheduled to throw 75 to 80 pitches on Friday. So could see him back. We definitely need the length. That's the common theme right now, is that our starters are just not going long enough and the relievers are needing to cover too much. So we're gonna need the long relief, and really tap into that starting pitching depth that we have. We're gonna need to use them as relievers. So good to see Gasser coming back.
Yeah, I also think expanded rosters will help a lot with stretching out the pen a little bit.
Yeah, we're almost there. Yeah, I don't know if I'm skipping anything in terms of roster moves, but we can certainly go around the farm.
If it hadn't been for those meddling kids. If it hadn't been for you meddling kids. Ah, meddling kids. If it hadn't been for these meddling laddies.
Yeah, I'll start in the DSL. Shout out to a couple pitchers, Carlos Galindo and Gustavo Garcia. Both those guys were kind of some of the league leaders in their summer in the Dominican. And then I wanted to shout out Jonathan Renhel as well, I believe. He was 95th percentile in league OPS. Number of guys performed well. Obviously, those are young prospects we're talking about there, but hopefully those are some names we can keep an eye on throughout their careers. Casey Hunt logged his best start of the year on Wednesday. He went 7 innings, allowed 2 runners the whole game, and had 9 strikeouts. Jesus Mate had a 4-hit game. He is the youngest player in High A and has a 989 OPS. Fisher had his first home run with the T-Rats. He's had a pretty hot start to his professional career. Manuel Rodriguez had an 8K one-hit 5-inning start as well, I think, for the T-Rats, and he's one of the younger guys in High A as well on the starting pitching side of things, at least that have like it's like 50 plus innings, I think. Um, Blake Burke had his first or second two-homer game in Biloxi. And then DeBerry was the Southern League Pitcher of the Week following a shutout 7-inning outing with 9 Ks. So, per usual, the farm's getting it done.
Yeah,
Uh,
just to add on, sorry, Scoop, but just
no,
to
go
add
ahead.
on to the Blake Burke fanfare, ever since I called him fat, he's like the greatest player ever. I know he's torching it up with Biloxi right now. He's has a 961 OPS with 6 bombs. That's already one more than he had um, with the Timber Rattlers. So obviously different pitching and stuff like that, but good to see, a highly touted prospect continue to do well for the Brewers. And I apologize to him for calling him overweight.
Yeah, and I think Brock Wilken just came back as well in Biloxi, so they're getting moving. And maybe a little alternate identity. I know we talked about it with Javik. What about the Sandmen? Kind of a cool sand logo. Obviously, I know
Mm,
someone in the Brewers organization would be all about that merch. So just something to think
sounds
about.
kind of scary if you ask me, the Sandman. But I like it. I also did see Javik Blake tweeted the he had a list of 30 extra base and 30 extra base hits and 30 stolen bases in a season under 21 since 2005. Luis Lara joined the list. Before that, it was Chourio, and then before that, Jason Dominguez, Bo Bichette, and then the rest of the list includes Mike Trout and Carlos Gomez. So it says only Mike Trout has a higher OBP of the guys on that list. Kind of cool little note there. And as Javik reported, apparently the glove is insane. So, um, Caro has been really hot in AAA. That's another thing
Yeah.
to mention. And then yeah, I think that's it. If we want to just move into like general news, did see Andrew Vaughn taking reps at third base today. Could be a big nothing burger, but that also brings up the fact that Isaac Collins was taking some ground balls at third base. So easy to forget that he, I think, played some infield in the minor leagues. So maybe something they're keeping in mind. Any way to get Collins and Perkins, Yelich, Chourio, all those guys in the lineup. Siegler's been struggling a little bit. Um, that also brings up, wanted to mention Siegler pinch hit for Durbin the other day in the ninth off of Ryan Walker. And another people freaking out about Pat Murphy's decisions. I did see Jack Stern tweeted that Durbin entered today with the 672 OPS against right-handed pitchers. Walker entered with a 567 OPS against right-handed batters. And he's obviously throws like crossfire. So um, I don't mind him. I'm not the biggest Anthony Siegler fan this year, to be honest, but uh, I don't mind them going to a lefty there. So just another example that I just had in my notes here that it's just like let Murph breathe. It's like with the bullpen too. Like what do you want him to do? He can't just like yeah, I don't agree with every single move, but sometimes he's in a tough spot. Sometimes like veterans like Quintana need to come in and eat 5 or 6 innings today, and they just don't do it. So like yeah, your relievers are going to be overworked. It's obviously not a great example of what I'm trying to say, but same thing with the pinch hitting. It's hindsight's always 2020. So
Yeah, we've kind of sounded like a spoiled fan base recently in general, I think, on social media especially. People are kind of ridiculous. I think I tweeted like We literally had Manny Parra as a reliever on this team for like 5 years, and his ERA is like 5 or 6. Like, what are you talking about complaining about Grant Anderson? Just be thankful. It's not like Grant Anderson's our only relief pitcher and he's our like star closer. Like he's fifth or whatever, fifth man off the bench. Like you sound ridiculous. Go watch a Rockies game and please come back and complain about being a Brewers fan this year.
Agreed. All right. Well, we can move into the random section. I also another bit that I found hilarious is all the losers like Steve Homer True or whoever else on the radio being like, "Oh, the sky's falling," and or the people being like, "It's a 6 game lead, but it's actually a
Yeah.
5 game lead because they haven't had a tie." And I'm like, okay, then if you want to play that game, it's a 5.5 game. And no, it's not. Like if they make up 5 games, it's not. But I saw a funny tweet from Steve Pelicopter. I don't know. I've seen him before. You probably recognize him. He said, "You're all wrong. Brewers 5.5 game lead." That was the other day. So let's go deeper. It's a 4.5 game lead. Chicago owns tiebreaker. 3.5 game lead. Nervous factor. 2.5 game lead. Craig Counsell never loved us. 1.5 game lead. Small big market swing. It's basically a 1 game lead right now. That's how they sound. I thought that was pretty funny.
Yeah, that is the rhetoric it seems.
You guys want to hit me with a thought here?
Yeah, I was just gonna say another MLB news. Obviously the Dodgers rotation is starting to get a little healthier, but I don't think it's as scary as it's been in years past necessarily. Phillies rotation just took a hit. Cubs rotation, we know what it is at its brightest. It's solid. They have some solid arms, but it's nothing to be too afraid of. Mets rotation is turning younger by the day, it seems, with young talent, but again, nothing crazy. I don't know. I feel like where our rotation started young and kind of abstract, it's like we have arguably the best rotation in the NL at this point, considering the Wheeler injury to Philly. Um, Unless I'm forgetting our rotation blatantly, but I don't hate where we sit.
I guess if Scoop doesn't have anything to add on to that, um, I agree 100%. Like the Wheeler thing is probably not a huge deal, as Philly's probably going to make the postseason and might even win the division without him, but it will matter, you know, in a longer series, 5 or 7. Not having a guy that you can probably plug in for 7 and is a huge deal. So I think that's a huge blow for them. And I mean, they have depth. They have, Christopher Sanchez, and I know everybody is kind of down on Nola, but he could easily just go out and dominate at any point with his track record. So I'm not super worried for them, but it does kind of suck if you're a Phillies fan because that's 7 innings in a really high leverage game that you're not going to get.
Yeah, that's actually terrible for them. I don't think it can be understated, especially the way Aaron Nola has pitched this year. All right. Well, I don't really have a clear direction on this ship, but another thing I thought was kind of interesting slash cool. The Brewers are going to be one of the few series in Las Vegas next year. Not that I'm pro A's leaving Oakland, but it'd be cool to see the Brewers in a different venue. Hopefully, it's a true major league venue, not like the weird ballparks that the Rays and the A's are playing in right now. That hopefully we don't get shafted by some weird 115-degree field or weird ground rule in the minor leagues or Luis Severino having to warm up and go back out to the clubhouse in center field. Something along those lines.
Yeah,
I
and you
guess
open at home, right?
Yeah, home opener. Good stuff.
against the Chi Sox on a Thursday. I know that for people that have been going to, home openers for a while, I think the last 2 or 3 years they've been on a Monday or a Tuesday. So nice to see the Brewers finally get back to a Thursday opening game. Everybody can just take off that Thursday, Friday, and really truly enjoy themselves, if you know what I mean. And then I guess another thing I had going back to the Phillies rotation, which I thought was kind of funny. I'm looking at the Twitter group chat right now, and they released Joe Ross. I honestly totally forgot that he was even a part of their rotation, or maybe he was a long reliever or
Yeah, he
whatever.
was in their pen.
But I didn't know how truly bad of a season he was having, and they clearly just kept trotting him out there with 51 innings. They signed him for $4 million, and he gave them 51 innings and a 5.12 ERA. And
And
then I
that's about
assume,
what we signed Quintana for. And some of our fan base will complain about his performance.
I mean, Joe Ross was good for us, but he was he was definitely never that bad. But
No,
it's just
yeah.
kind of funny to see. We talk about the pitching lab and getting guys in it, and then they leave. And some of them continue to do well. Adrian Hauser's having a good year, Eric Lauer, Renaissance, and
I
then you
think
see guys like this, and it's just Joe Ross.
I think I saw Frankie Montas is done for a year or two after a couple bad outings as well. Pretty sure it's
Oof.
something. But either way, I know he's not pitching anymore after he came back from that injury. So another case of it, but he got paid a lot more than 4 mil. um, but yeah, but I was gonna say, Coach Keane, speaking of having a good time on opening day, you've been gone a couple weeks now. Hopefully, you've had some good times. You got a beer of the week?
I'll have a brewski, Charlie. Well, there's nothing like a cold one after a long day, huh? Oh, yeah. I've been known to drink a beer or two.
I do actually have a beer of the week here. This is from the Chinooks main bar. If anybody was lucky enough to attend one of our games, this is this is Foxtown's. Oh shit! Oh, there we go. Proud sponsor of the Lakeshore Chinooks. Look it up. It's their strawberry lemonade hard seltzer. And let me read the can for you guys. What to do when life gives you lemons? How about tossing in strawberries and making a delicious strawberry lemonade hard seltzer? We combine this iconic combo of fresh fruit with gluten-free 5% ABV seltzer to create an ideal summer thirst quencher for you to enjoy. And truly, it is delicious. All natural ingredients in this puppy. And if you love supporting local, I suggest getting yourself some strawberry lemonade hard seltzer from Foxtown Brewing Company, proud sponsor of the Lakeshore Chinooks.
This is not the hard seltzer of the week,
Yeah.
but whatever, dude.
I mean, I do have an empty Bud Light sitting here if you want me to do that, but I don't know. I
No.
don't want to alienate someone.
Boo. Boo. But boo bud because like I'm a Miller guy from Milwaukee, not for any other reasons. That is not what I'm going for with the booze there.
Yeah, great. You just tanked their stock again,
Used to
Cole.
be cool to boo them, but now when you boo them, who knows what you mean. Kid Rock might come over your shoulder and take it out.
I was celebrating Bob Uecker's life on Sunday, and I went to the grab and go cooler, and I was about to grab a beer for the beer of the week, and then I realized I think Cole's already done it. It was a raised grain beer that they have at the stadium. Do you remember what it is? Because I don't.
Raised grain. I think I did that one.
Okay, well, either way, I opted for the Barrelman Ale, which I certainly have done. That was probably one of the first ones.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's
Still
third stage
delicious.
raised grain, delicious beer. Or maybe Cole did it and I said I knew it. I don't know.
I don't
But
know.
it's a good
Uh,
beer.
Terrible news out of Milwaukee. DJ Shaq Diesel has canceled his concert. Uh, Initial thoughts. I'll give you guys a second to process it. It's obviously big. I mean, whenever I want to listen to music, I hope that it's someone completely unqualified and is just pressing buttons, or probably not pressing even buttons, just hitting play on a playlist. Um, Thoughts?
Shaq's gonna kill you if he ever listens to this. Who's to say
Yeah.
he's unqualified? I remember watching videos of him DJing from Vine.
Yeah,
So he's been
for
DJing for
sure.
15 years, man. I mean, let the guy breathe.
For sure.
Yeah, it's kind of bush league scoop.
Sorry, call me salty. Call me salty.
Just a young artist trying to get his breakthrough here, and of course, some podcasters over here shitting on him. But
They'll refund
anyways,
your field pass, Scoop. Don't worry.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we know why you're mad.
No, no, only for Nelly. I think Shaq's got a thing for podcasters, actually. He's always there's always the clips of him making very subtle passes at Angel Reese on her podcast, even though he's like triple her age.
That's okay. I can do that.
I'm gonna let that one be.
Sorry, I'm starting my Shaq slander tour.
Apparently,
All right. What else you guys got?
Any qualms with Mona getting thrown out at second last night, being
Oh yeah,
aggressive
that's a good
with one
topic of
out?
discussion. Uh,
Murph gave his speech, said he wanted to stay aggressive, and I think that's fine. But I feel like it's just a little different in the ninth inning, personally.
sure.
I get trying to stretch it, so on earlier in a game, stuff like that. But on like such a routine play. Ninth inning, top of the order, about to be up, possibly with one out and one on. And instead it is two outs, none on. Quite a different scenario. And yeah, hindsight's 2020, and I agree. If he was safe, I probably wouldn't be complaining because he would have been safe, but he wasn't safe. So it's fair to question the approach. So that's
It's
where
not
I'm
my
at on it.
least favorite thing. Like I didn't love it, but if that throws off by a few feet, like it's totally electric. Like we said, probably would have rather just seen him try to steal a base there. But Gurriel had to rush it a little bit. Maybe he makes a bad throw, and it's an electric double. So it is what it is. It's tough. But who knows? Terang struck out, and maybe nothing would have happened with the next batter news. You never know. But yeah, I didn't. It wasn't my least favorite thing. It wasn't my favorite thing.
I think you just have to live and die with your identity. I mean, I know you kind of pointed to what Murph said, but he's not going to come out and call out Monasterio
No,
because
yeah.
he got thrown out
Sure.
in game 135 when you have a 6-game division lead on the rest of the league. I think you just live and die with it. It's something that happened a week from now we won't even remember, but it does kind of suck. Maybe we don't reach 100 wins because of it. But Terang struck out the next at bat. I mean, there's nothing you can do. I saw you guys bickering about it, but I didn't really give it much thought. That's just who the team is. So you live and die with the identity of being aggressive.
Yeah, I agree, but the team's also like small ball and also not being smart to a point. I don't know. But yeah, like we said, it's game 135. But I guess in a playoff game, if that happens,
Yeah.
are you just like, oh yeah, great, that's what we do. We're
No,
aggressive. Or are you like,
I was
no.
going to say the magnitude of the
Yeah,
moment. I said it's game 135.
yeah,
I
Otherwise, Murph
agree.
that's what
I
I'm
would have came
asking.
out and said, I don't agree with that. This is
I
playoff
agree.
atmosphere. He's got to know. But it's
No,
just a random game in August, and you
yeah,
already had split the series at least. I know maybe if we had lost the first 2 games of the series, everybody would be freaking out, like, "Oh my God, that was a must win." The Cubs are
yeah.
4 games back, but I think he got lucky in the moment and he trusted himself, and it didn't work out. And
No,
there's too many plays in a season to worry about than just one, in my
I
opinion.
agree.
Yeah, and like I said, just even personally, if it happened earlier in the game, I probably wouldn't care as much. But in the ninth inning, that's the one time probably to zero in and act like it's a playoff game because
Sure.
obviously in the ninth inning, that's the end of the game. So
And I guess from
Yeah,
your point
but
of view, you did have Bryce Terang, most likely NL Player of the Month, coming up with a chance, to win the game. So
I
I can see
do.
where you're coming from, but personally, I didn't give it much thought because of, you live and die with the mentality.
I do agree with that part of it. Like, oh, it's the ninth inning, time to lock in. But you also could look at it as like, well, there's only two outs left in the game. Like, I'm gonna try to get in scoring position any way I can.
yeah, I see. I'd
But I
agree
don't
if it
know.
wasn't
And
the
I
top of the
agree.
order.
If it was a playoff game, or if we were like really needed to win, I could see it. I would hate that in a playoff game. I agree.
If it if
That's
it
too risky for me. But
if it was Mona hitting in the seven hole and then Danny Jansen behind him and Joey Ortiz of 3 months ago
yeah,
behind him, I would have said, yeah, then maybe try running for third and we'll see if they have an error and then steal home because I think
yeah.
it depends on who's due up. But yeah,
Well, and it
whatever.
was almost.
Like
I was just gonna say. I mean, it looked like it was very spur of the moment. I don't
yeah,
think he had any thought of who was
yeah.
coming up. Not that it changes what happened, but
But yeah, no, I do love Mona and I do agree it's definitely not the end of the world. It was a random game in August for a team that's somehow destroying the rest of the league. So
can we also shout him out the night before? He
hell
had an
yeah,
incredible play at shortstop
hell yeah.
to save the day
We
before
also
the
I
walk-off. So
also
unsung hero.
also an honorable mention for hot header. So
Yeah,
he's been a
Honorable
unreal.
stud.
mention.
He has been a
He's been
stud.
awesome.
We didn't
I
even
gotta
really
give it to
mention him,
him.
but there's a non-zero chance that he's legitimately the Player of the Month in August if he continues what he's doing through the weekend. So
Mona?
no, oh sorry, I thought you guys were still talking about Terang. My bad, my
No,
bad.
I was like Mona
Oh
has
yeah,
been
Terang
good, but
had a
he's not
crazy
better
one
than
too.
Terang.
No, I
Yeah,
mean, I will say Mona, he was batting like
yeah.
400 over
No,
his last
yeah,
14 games
he
going
is,
into
but
yesterday.
yeah,
So my bad. I was
no, you're
looking at
good.
Terang's stats. That's on me.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Not fully listening.
That's all right. Hell yeah.
All right, gents. Well, I gotta head out. We only got 4 minutes left in our recording. So you got anything else for me? Final thoughts? I've pretty much said my piece.
No, I think my kind of final thought is I don't not as obviously the series in Toronto is cool, AL, NL, top of the leagues, but that series against Philadelphia, I think while it's still just a series in August, I would like to set a tone against them and kind of show the league what's up and we're real and so on because that's definitely one of the few kind of lineups in the league that are still pretty scary no matter what pitching staff you have. So it'd be cool to at least win that series.
While we're on schedule, I guess I'm excited for that Texas series. Team you don't see very often. Great pitching, star players. I'm excited for that series. Can't wait to see it.
Except not Seager, out for the rest of the year due to his appendix. And it's true. Some people fake appendix injuries, not Mr. Seager. Right, Scoop?
Never. Just Ryan. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for listening to episode 69. Very nice. All right. Go Brewers. Vibes are still good here. We'll be fine. We'll get that day off and we're gonna get hot again. So I still think we can get to 100 wins. Call me crazy.
Scoop,
I still
put
think
a
the
Micah
Yankees record in the
Parsons,
bank.
Micah Parsons trade in baseball terms. I saw
Uh
that from John Boy, so I should cite my
Christian
sources.
Yelich to the Brewers for Lewis Brinson, top prospect.
Ronald
Let's,
Acuna Jr.
yeah,
traded
Yeah,
for
I
a
don't know.
bag of peanuts and an aging veteran.
Yeah, go
Kenny
Pack.
Clark is the man though, but go Pack
Yeah.
go.
I agree. I
Shout out
love
Kenny
Kenny.
Clark. Yeah,
I love Kenny.
he's the man. But
Kay Adams, sorry, not to add on. Kay Adams was taking
very
a victory
nice.
lap on how she
Episode
predicted it. She was asking
69.
Jordan Love, and she posted a clip of her asking Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur, and Kenny Clark.
Kenny Clark.
I was like,
Yeah, that's
"Are you
tough.
gonna add the caveat in the video?" She's like, "Do you want Micah Parsons?" He's like, "I'm good with who we got." And they're like, "Pack your bags, buddy."
Yeah,
Anyway,
Kenny.
all
It's a
right,
big
go
price you had to
Packers,
pay.
go Brewers, go episode 69.
I like your plaid.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.